First contact's price. The message arrived on a quiet Tuesday morning, transmitted simultaneously to every digital device on Earth. The Alien Federation's ultimatum was simple. Earth would provide them with 30% of its rare earth elements annually, or face consequences. Dr. Sarah Chen, head of the United Earth Response Council, stood at her window overlooking Shanghai's sprawling skyline, her tablet displaying the message that had thrown humanity into chaos. "They're testing us," she muttered, watching the crowds gathering in the streets below. The Federation's demand wasn't random. They'd chosen elements crucial to Earth's growing quantum computing industry, elements that humanity needed for its own advancement. Within hours, the global markets had plunged. Panic buying emptied stores, but in secure facilities around the world, something else was happening. Humanity was preparing its response. The Federation's representatives, the Arxer, arrived 3 days later. Their biomechanical ships descended through Earth's atmosphere with deliberate slowness, a show of technical superiority. They chose Beijing for their landing, perhaps believing China's authoritarian history would make it more amenable to their demands. They couldn't have been more wrong. Dr. Chen led the delegation to meet them. The Arxer emerged from their ships, looking almost disappointingly familiar. Bipedal, though their skin had a metallic sheen and their eyes were compound, like insects. Their translator devices produced perfect Mandarin and English. "Your species has potential," their leader, Supreme Coordinator Vexna, declared. "This arrangement will benefit us both. You provide resources, we provide protection, and limited technological insights." Sarah smiled diplomatically. "And if we decline, then we will take what we need. You have no defenses against our technology. We've observed your military capabilities. This is a courtesy, not a negotiation." What the Arxer didn't know was that humanity had been preparing for this moment for decades, not because they knew aliens were coming, but because humans had always imagined they might. "Before you make assumptions about Earth's capabilities," Sarah replied, "I suggest you review this data package." She transferred a file to their systems. It contained information about Project Prometheus, humanity's quantum entanglement defense grid. The Arxer's compound eyes flickered as they processed the information. Their metallic skin changed color slightly, though Sarah couldn't interpret the meaning. "This is unlikely," Vexna said finally. "Your species hasn't even achieved faster than light travel. We focused on different priorities," Sarah explained. "While you mastered the stars, we mastered the manipulation of subatomic particles. The defense grid is already operational. Any aggressive action against Earth will trigger quantum cascade failures in your ship's drive systems. We've studied your propulsion signatures since you entered our solar system. We know exactly how to disrupt them." It wasn't entirely a bluff. The quantum defense system was real, though not as refined as Sarah implied. But humanity had learned long ago that perception was often as powerful as reality. The Arxer delegation conferred in their own language, their color-shifting skin creating patterns that suggested agitation. They hadn't expected resistance, let alone sophisticated countermeasures. "This changes nothing," Vexna declared finally. "We have other means of ensuring compliance. You'll find that opposing the Federation has economic consequences. We control trade routes across 50,000 light years. Your world can be isolated." Sarah's smile didn't waver. "Perhaps. But consider this. If humanity can develop quantum entanglement weapons without leaving our solar system, what else might we be capable of? Are you certain you want to find out?" The real victory wasn't in the threat itself, but in planting the seed of doubt. The Arxer were used to dealing with species that developed along predictable technological paths. Humanity's divergent evolution challenged their assumptions. As the alien delegation departed, Sarah received a message from the Quantum Defense Grid's monitoring station in Antarctica. The Arxer ships had been scanning constantly, trying to detect the grid's components. They wouldn't succeed, because the grid's true nature was even more revolutionary than they imagined. The first round had gone to humanity, But Sarah knew this was just the beginning. The Federation wouldn't give up easily, but neither would humanity. They had spent their entire history preparing for this moment, not through conscious design, but through the constant struggle to survive and adapt. The real question was, what would the Federation try next? And would humanity's unique approach to problem-solving continue to give them an edge? Sarah turned back to the Shanghai skyline, now darkened by the shadows of departing alien ships. Humanity had just announced its presence on the galactic stage, not with faster-than-light ships or colonial ambitions, but with a demonstration of their capacity for innovative defense and diplomatic courage. The game had begun. The silent strike. The Federation's retaliation came not with weapons, but with silence. 3 weeks after the failed negotiation, every deep space signal reaching Earth simply stopped. The aliens had created a communications barrier around the solar system, cutting humanity off from the broader galaxy. Dr. Chen watched from her office as protests erupted worldwide. Markets crashed again as humanity realized just how isolated they'd become. The Federation's message was clear: submit or remain alone in the cosmos. But they'd underestimated humanity's capacity for adaptation. Within days, Dr. James Rodriguez, a quantum physicist from Brazil, made a breakthrough. If the Federation could create a communications barrier, there had to be a way to detect its structure. Working with a team of researchers across Earth, he discovered something extraordinary about the barrier's nature. It's not just blocking signals, he explained to the United Earth Response Council. It's collecting them. They're gathering intelligence on every transmission we make. Sarah leaned forward in her chair. Can we use that against them? James smiled. We already are. My team has developed a quantum virus. It piggybacks on our normal communications, but when their barrier absorbs it, it infiltrates their systems. We're not just breaking through their blockade. We're turning it into our window into their network. The Federation's barrier, meant to isolate Earth, had become humanity's greatest intelligence asset. Through it, they learned about the Federation's structure, its internal politics, and most importantly, its vulnerabilities. The Arxer discovered the breach too late. By then, humanity had already begun Phase 2 of their response. Using the Federation's own communications network, Earth's quantum computers began disrupting trade routes across the galaxy. Not through brute force, but through subtle manipulations of navigation data and cargo manifests. Ships arrived at wrong destinations. Critical supplies were rerouted. The Federation's perfectly orchestrated economy began showing signs of strain. Vexnab returned to Earth, this time without the previous show of force. Your interference must stop, they demanded. The Federation's economic stability is as vulnerable as Earth's, Sarah interrupted. Perhaps more so. Your systems are too perfect, too interconnected. They lack the resilience that comes from chaos and adaptation. She gestured to the Shanghai skyline, where new quantum communication arrays were being installed. Humanity has survived ice ages, plagues, and our own destructive tendencies. We've learned to thrive in isolation. Have you? The Arxer's metallic skin rippled with patterns that Sarah now recognized as fear. Their Federation had never faced an opponent who could turn their own strengths against them so effectively. But the real shock came when Sarah revealed humanity's next move. We've already begun sharing your technological data with other isolated species across the galaxy. The Federation isn't the only power in space anymore. This was humanity's true weapon, not just their technological innovation, but their willingness to share it. While the Federation hoarded knowledge, Earth had started a technological revolution that was spreading across the stars. The Arxer delegation departed in disarray, but Sarah felt no triumph. She knew the Federation would respond with even more desperate measures. Their next attack would target not Earth's economy or communications, but something far more fundamental, life itself. As she prepared Earth's defenses for what was to come, Sarah reflected on how humanity's greatest strengths had proven to be their perceived weaknesses. Their isolation had bred innovation. Their chaotic nature had created resilience. Their cooperative instincts had turned economic warfare into a galaxy-wide revolution. The Federation had tried to silence Earth. Instead, they'd given humanity a voice that would echo across the stars. Breaking point. The first cases appeared in Singapore. Patients arrived at hospitals with symptoms that defied traditional diagnosis. Their cellular structures were literally reorganizing. Within days, similar reports emerged from Tokyo, Sydney, and San Francisco. The pattern was clear. All major ports were affected. Dr. Maya Patel, Earth's leading xenobiologist, recognized the attack for what it was. The Federation had weaponized their own biological technology against humanity. But as she studied the pathogen, her horror turned to fascination. "This isn't just an attack," she explained to Dr. Chen in her secured lab beneath Mumbai. "It's their biology. The Federation has been modifying their own species for millennia. They've turned their cellular structure into a programmable matrix." Sarah watched through the containment glass as infected human tissue samples pulsed with an otherworldly glow. "Can we stop it?" Maya's response was unexpected. She laughed. "Stop it? Sarah, we can reverse engineer it." The Federation made a crucial mistake. They assumed their biology was superior to ours. They never considered that human DNA might be more adaptable. The truth was revolutionary. Humanity's primitive biology, shaped by millions of years of natural selection, was far more robust than the Federation's engineered perfection. Their biological attack had given Earth scientists direct access to the Federation's most closely guarded secret, the genetic engineering that made their civilization possible. Within weeks, Maya's team had not only developed a cure, but had discovered something extraordinary about human DNA. When exposed to the Federation's biotech, human cells didn't just resist. They evolved. They incorporated useful aspects of the alien technology, while rejecting harmful changes. "We're not just surviving their attack," Maya explained to the United Earth Response Council. "We're gaining their advantages without their weaknesses. Humanity is experiencing guided evolution at an unprecedented rate." The implications were staggering. The Federation had engineered themselves into an evolutionary dead end, sacrificing adaptability for immediate advantages. Humanity, with its messy natural evolution, had maintained the genetic flexibility to take a quantum leap forward. When the Arxer next contacted Earth, their message was different. The biological initiative was unauthorized. Vexna claimed, "A rogue element." "Spare us the diplomacy," Sarah interrupted. "We know this came from the Federation's Central Biological Research Facility. We know because we've already accessed their database. Humanity isn't just surviving your attack. We're transcending it." The Arxer's neural patterns showed clear distress as Sarah transferred the latest medical data. Humanity wasn't just curing the Federation's bioweapon. They were using it as a template to enhance their own capabilities. Earth's population was becoming something new, something that combined human adaptability with Federation biotechnology. "This is impossible," Vexna protested. "Our biological science is the product of thousands of years of advancement. You can't simply adapt to it." "That's exactly what we did," Sarah replied. "Evolution isn't about being perfect. It's about being adaptable, something your civilization forgot long ago." But even as Earth celebrated this victory, Sarah recognized the danger ahead. The Federation's leadership would see this development as an existential threat. Their next move would be born of desperation, an attack not on humanity's bodies or economy, but on the very information systems that had given Earth its advantages. As she prepared for the coming cyber warfare, Sarah reflected on how each of the Federation's attacks had backfired. Their economic isolation had forced innovation. Their biological warfare had triggered evolution. What new human potential would their next assault unlock? The answer would reshape not just Earth, but the entire galaxy's understanding of what it meant to be advanced. Underground revolution. The Federation's cyber attack began with a cascade of quantum anomalies that threatened to destroy Earth's digital infrastructure. But in the depths of the old internet, humanity's digital warriors were ready. They'd been preparing for this moment since they first reversed engineered the Federation's communication barrier. Kai Winters, a former black hat hacker turned cyber defense specialist, had assembled a global network of information warriors. They called themselves the Digital Underground, and they were about to show the Federation why humanity's chaotic approach to information technology was more powerful than they could imagine. Their systems are too perfect, Kai explained to Dr. Chen from his command center in abandoned subway tunnels beneath Tokyo. They built their entire civilization on quantum predictability. But human hackers, we thrive on chaos. The Federation's attack used sophisticated quantum algorithms to corrupt Earth's data networks. But human hackers didn't fight back conventionally. They introduced randomness, viral memes, and illogical data patterns that the Federation's systems couldn't process. It's like trying to solve a cone, Kai said, his fingers dancing across holographic interfaces. Their quantum AI can't handle human absurdity. We're not just defending. We're infiltrating their networks through the gaps created by their own confusion. What they found inside the Federation's networks shocked everyone. The seemingly perfect alien civilization was built on carefully hidden corruption. The Arxer leadership had been manipulating member species for millennia, using carefully controlled technology transfers to maintain their dominance. Sarah watched as Kai's team exposed the truth across thousands of worlds. The Federation isn't about unity, she realized. It's about control. The Digital Underground didn't just find this information. They broadcast it everywhere, using the Federation's own communications network. The quantum virus they'd developed didn't destroy data. It made it impossible to hide. Worlds that had been oppressed for generations suddenly saw the truth. Species that had been kept technologically dependent learned they'd been deliberately held back. The Federation's perfect facade began to crack. Vexna's next transmission to Earth was almost frantic. You don't understand what you're doing. The Federation maintains order, without our control. Without your control, species will be free to develop on their own terms, Sarah interrupted, just like humanity did. The Federation's response was predictable. They tried to shut down their entire communications network, but they'd become too dependent on it. Their civilization couldn't function without the quantum data streams that connected their worlds. Meanwhile, Earth's primitive internet, built on redundancy and the ability to route around damage, continued functioning. Human technology, evolved through decades of cyber warfare and digital vandalism, proved more resilient than the Federation's perfect but rigid systems. Kai's team pushed their advantage, spreading not just information but Earth's cyber warfare techniques to other species. The Federation's member worlds began developing their own chaotic, resilient networks. Their perfect control was dissolving into creative anarchy. We didn't just beat their cyber attack, Kai told Sarah as reports of Federation worlds declaring independence flooded in. We showed the galaxy a different way to handle information. Controlled chaos instead of rigid order. But victory came with responsibility. As the Federation's structure crumbled, thousands of worlds faced technological and economic crises. Earth, barely a player on the galactic stage months ago, was suddenly being looked to for leadership. Sarah knew the hardest part was still ahead. The Federation's leadership would make one final desperate attempt to restore their control. The coming confrontation would determine not just Earth's fate, but the future of every species in the galaxy. As she prepared for the final battle, Sarah reflected on how humanity's greatest weapons had proven to be their supposed weaknesses, their unpredictability, their resilience, and their embrace of controlled chaos. The Federation had tried to break into Earth's networks. Instead, they'd given humanity the keys to their own destruction. Evolution's edge. The Federation's final assault wasn't an attack, it was a revelation. As their control over member worlds crumbled, the Arxer leadership revealed the truth they'd hidden for millennia. They were dying. Their perfect, engineered biology was failing on a fundamental level. Our species achieved immortality 10,000 years ago, Vexna explained to the United Earth Response Council. The alien leader's metallic skin had lost its luster, showing signs of the degradation they'd tried so hard to hide. But immortality came with a price. We stopped evolving. Dr. Maya Patel, now head of Earth's Xenobiological Research Division, finally understood. Your genetic engineering eliminated random mutation. You gained perfect control over your biology, but lost the ability to adapt to new challenges. The Federation's desperate attacks on Earth hadn't just been about maintaining control. They'd been searching for a solution to their own extinction. Humanity's robust genetic code, still capable of natural evolution, even after exposure to Federation biotechnology, represented their last hope. Sarah Chen faced the most crucial decision in human history. The Federation was offering a trade. They would recognize Earth's independence and provide full access to their technology in exchange for help saving their species. Why should we help you? Sarah asked. After everything you've done. Because you're human, Vexna replied. Your species-defining trait isn't your technology or your resilience. It's your capacity for both competition and cooperation. You fight fiercely, but you also help your defeated enemies rise again. The truth was more complex than simple mercy. Earth scientists had already discovered that the Federation's member species were all suffering from similar genetic stagnation. Their perfect, engineered biologies were evolutionary dead ends. But humanity's exposure to the Federation's bioweapon had revealed something extraordinary. Human DNA didn't just resist harmful changes, it could repair degraded genetic structures. The same adaptability that had protected Earth could potentially save thousands of species. We won't just give you our genetic template, Sarah declared. We'll help you restore natural evolution to all Federation species. But there are conditions. The new galactic order that emerged was unlike anything either humanity or the Federation had imagined. Earth's scientists worked with Federation biologics experts to develop what they called guided natural evolution, a way to restore species' ability to adapt while maintaining their advanced capabilities. The Federation's rigid hierarchy was replaced by a collaborative network of independently evolving civilizations. Earth became a center for biological and technological innovation, teaching other worlds how to balance advancement with adaptability. Kai's digital underground transformed into an interstellar information-sharing network, spreading human ideas about resilient systems and controlled chaos throughout the galaxy. Maya's xenobiology team made breakthroughs that revolutionized understanding of life itself. The Arxer, freed from the burden of maintaining perfect control, discovered something they'd forgotten millennia ago: the joy of unexpected discovery. Their species began to change, not toward perfect immortality, but toward sustainable life. 5 years after first contact, Sarah stood in her Shanghai office, watching ships from 100 worlds move through Earth's crowded skies. Humanity had earned their place in the galaxy not by dominating others, but by showing them a different path. We never wanted to rule the stars, she told Vexna, who had become an unlikely friend. We just wanted to explore them. Instead, you taught the galaxy how to live again, the Arxer replied. Their skin now showed natural variations, the first signs of resumed evolution. Perhaps that's what true advancement means, not the pursuit of perfection, but the wisdom to embrace imperfection. Earth's influence continued to spread, not through conquest or control, but through example. Species that had been locked in stasis for millennia began to evolve again. Rigid hierarchies gave way to adaptive networks. The galaxy itself seemed to come alive with possibilities. The Federation's attempt to subjugate humanity had instead unleashed something far more powerful: the human capacity to adapt, innovate, and share those gifts with others. They had tried to perfect the galaxy through control, but humanity showed them how to perfect it through change. As new challenges emerged and old ones transformed, the galaxy faced an uncertain future. But uncertainty, as humanity had always known, was the catalyst for evolution. The stars were no longer a realm of perfect order, but a frontier of endless possibility. And that was exactly how it should be.